expect it was above 20. You alright? You didn't turn it on?
Please tell me it just cut out. Ciao Ciao folks, it's Nick here from the Amphora Annals and Alan, the historian. I am the wine pro, he's the historian pro. He's going to be bringing all of the information that we need to know. Today's our very first episode where we're going to be profiling Ktima Gerovassiliou of the Epanomi region in northern Greece. Why northern Greece? Why not? We're both massive fans of ancient Greek history, as you can probably see by that map, the book, the wine, the olives, those kind of things. And we just decided, you know what, that's the first one. It was a toss-up between Spain and underwater wine, a little bit of Italian, Sicilian, that kind of stuff. So no, we're going to pick two wines. Absolutely love. 2, 3.
Hello, my name is Halkidiki and I'm responsible for the sales for Ktima Gerovassiliou. Ktima is the Greek word for estate. So Gerovassiliou is a property situated in northern Greece, close to Thessaloniki, the second largest city in the north, about 30 kilometers south of Thessaloniki in a small region called Epanomi. Typical Mediterranean climate, soil mostly sandy and clay. Actually, it's a small peninsula which is surrounded by seawater that influences a lot our climate. We have a lot of sea breezes that, temperate the hot climate. The majority of the vines that are planted in the vineyard are Greek grapes. Total area of the vineyards today is about more than 80 hectares. And it all started back in 1982 when Evangelos Gerovassiliou, owner and winemaker, started to plant vines in his native place, Epanomi, in order to get, to express better this unique microclimate. Since 1987, which was the year of the maiden vintage, wines are produced there, expressing the unique microclimate. Majority of the grapes, as I said, are Greek indigenous grapes, and among them, about half of the vineyards is a grape called Malagusa, and Evangelos Gerovassiliou is considered the father of this obscure variety back in the 60s and 70s. Gerovassiliou was working at that time in another Greek winery called Portokaras, and he actually propagated that grape. That was otherwise that grape would be lost by extinction. Today is very trendy, they plant it all over Greece, and we're very proud of what we do on this grape, what we did in the past and what we're doing in the present and in the future. The next generation of Gerovassiliou family is involved in the wine business, and we're all very optimistic that all these winery vineyard wines will go forward for better in time. I hope you enjoy our wines, and this is our goal. Wines that are drinkable, enjoyable every day and every occasion. Thank you very much.
So yes, I met Thras last week at a portfolio wine tasting in London. Absolutely lovely fella. Wasn't nervous in the slightest, which was very nice. However, I was. Somehow I managed to keep the camera quite still. But my love of Greek wine came around about 2-3 years ago, just before the lockdown, when I kind of discovered it when I was in Crete. I've always drank Greek wine, but I've never really kind of got the bug. And then the trip to Crete, I fell absolutely head over heels in love with Greek wine. Why? For quite a few reasons, but I'm a massive fan of wine, beer, spirits, that kind of stuff that transports you away to being on a holiday. That goes for all alcohol kind of things. Yes, I do love Bordeaux, Burgundy, your Sangioveses, Nebbiolos, that kind of stuff. I do love those wines, but they don't necessarily transport me away to feeling like I'm on holiday. The Malagusa was one of the first white wines I tried that immediately took me to a beach. And it's one of those, if you could bottle up an emotion or a memory, that was the wine. There's also Zabibo from Sicily, which does that to me, and I absolutely deeply love that stuff. So in terms of the winery itself, Evangelos Gerovassiliou formed it in, I believe it was 1982. He used to study at the University of Bordeaux, which isn't bad. Then he was also head wine consultant for a bottle of wine, which my father is about to show you just now. Bearing in mind, we do not intend on drinking this.
From my collection. 1974 Côte de Meliton, Porto Cadas.
If there was a bottle of vinegar, that'd be it. We were considering a couple of years ago actually opening it and seeing if it was worth drinking, but we just decided, nah, let's just keep it. But I would like to try that wine at some point. Not that one, but another bottle of it. So in terms of the region, Father, what we're talking? Talking history, we've got temples, have we got that kind of stuff? We've got major battles?
Well, first time I visited northern Greece was in 1980. I was researching the book Alexander the Great, Son of the Gods, which I wrote with Professor Joe Fletcher, and I had the great good fortune of meeting Manolis Andronicus, Professor Manolis, in a cafe in Vergina, where he'd just discovered the tomb of Philip II, King of Macedon, Alexander the Great's father. So that was a good start. But the area is a wonderful area, full of natural beauty and wildness. I remember the storms in the evening with lightning, as though the gods were coming down on us. It's an amazing place. So I fell in love with it then, and I've been back a couple of times since, taking Junior on occasion. There's so much history there. For instance, there's Alonissos, where Philip II besieged on the promontory of Halkidiki, and a port that was just discovered recently called Mende. And Mende was where they shipped out all the fine wines from that area around the 5th century BC. And we know this because one shipwreck was found at Alonissos, dating, we can date it to 425 BC, still intact at the bottom of the Aegean. Amazing stuff.
You do like a good shipwreck, don't you?
Oh, I love a good shipwreck, and I love that area. It wasn't as, I'm sure, a lot more hotels now than there were when I was there, but it's a very beautiful area. And to realise I've been very close, if not been to, Epanomi, where this wine comes from.
So in terms of the proximity to Alexander the Great and Philip, where are we?
Right, where Alexander was born in a place called Pella, so we're about 70k.
Oh, it's quite a distance.
Oh yeah.
But it's the same region, folks.
But I mean, Alexander marched through Halkidiki on his way to conquer the world. So
I believe there's a statue in Thessaloniki.
oh,
is that right?
amazing statue.
I think I saw it on a Rick Stein show, actually.
You saw it? I've got pictures of it.
Oh, right.
He's riding his
I think I
horse,
saw it on Rick Stein.
Bucephalus, and he's got a shield and his spear. Amazing stuff. Fabulous piece of artwork.
So Epanomi as a region is originally where Gerovassiliou is actually from. So he decided to park up there, start making some wine, and just lo and behold, I believe this was in the early 70s off the top of my head, one of his winemaker friends said, oh, by the way, there's a plot of land here with a grape called Malagusa, and it was tiny. There really wasn't a lot of these vines, so he thought, you know what, let's see what we can do. So he transported them over to Epanomi, planted them there. Epanomi is a region, is surrounded pretty much on all sides by the Aegean Sea, which is very good at kind of maintaining temperature. Make sure it doesn't get too hot, basically. It is warm, it is Mediterranean, it is Greece, obviously, but the water regulates temperature quite well. Now that region is relatively, put my teeth back in, relatively flat, which means it gets great exposure to the sun. So when you taste this wine, hopefully if you taste this wine, you're going to get loads of sunshine flavours, also loads of acidity, because that diurnal range, which is the difference between sunshine during the day and the chill at night, is fantastic for making white wines. So yes, the grape Malagusa was actually nearly extinct before Evangelos Gerovassiliou got his hands on it, which I find absolutely remarkable, because this grape variety for me is probably my favourite Greek grape variety. I just think it's absolutely amazing. It always seems a shame when you read about these varieties that are going under, because people prefer to plant Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, those kind of things, Cabernet Sauvignon, and so forth, which I find a real shame. But there's a lot of winemakers now, especially in places like Greece and places like Sicily and Sardinia and Corsica. There's a little bit of it going on in southern Spain and Portugal, where they've got the original indigenous grape varieties, and they're trying to get them back onto the market. Now, going back to these wines, we did a tasting, I did a tasting with my job about a year ago, where we had Argyris sorry if I've pronounced that wrong, but Halkidiki Gerovassiliou, who is Evangelos' youngest son. And everything I've read, including by this gentleman here, Konstantinos Lazarakis, master of wine, and Thrace was saying it before, that he is quite the prodigy when it comes to winemaking. So they seem to think that Gerovassiliou is going to continue into the future and probably get even better, which I find just remarkable. Yeah. I mean, they've got some amazing wines. The Greeks, I would say, but I mean, my boss might say something else about this, but Sauterne is amazing. Vinsanto from Italy is amazing. I'm not denying that. But I think the Greeks have got a real skill at making sweet wines, because originally they've been at it since, well, for probably the best part of 3,500 years. Of course, that's what they built their whole economy on, with sweet wines from Chios, Samos, Lemnos, Limnio, Thasos, that's the one, sorry. Limnio is from Lemnos. So anyway, I think you want to know what it tastes like now, because I know we do. I mean, we've just been sipping it as we've been talking, but the Malagusa, like I said, if I could bottle an emotion or a memory, let's think.
Aguero moment.
Yes, Aguero, Martin Tyler, thank you for that. I was in an Irish bar in Madrid watching that with a mate of mine, Flash, who's a United fan.
And I was in the living room
in the living room. If I could bottle the emotion of being sat in a, laying a hammock with a glass of wine, sat on the beach with the sea rolling in, that and Zibibo from Sicily were probably my two wines. Again, I know that Burgundies are amazing and Sauvignon Blancs from New Zealand, I get it, I understand, but for me, I love white wine that tastes of holiday. It's a really strange tasting note, but I absolutely love it. So, in terms of the tasting notes, I'll let you have a sniff first.
Beautiful. I love the colour, you know, yellow and lime colour. It's fresh, wonderfully fresh. And I'm a red wine drinker. I mean, this is exceptional.
Very floral.
Very floral.
Really floral. There's almost like a hint of green pepper. There's a bit of pineapple in there. It's got that lime. It's almost like a
cutting your tongue.
Cutting, yeah. It kind of cleans up after itself in that, because the acidity is high. Again, lovely and floral. It's got a load of white flower flavours. There is that hint of like green bell pepper, like capsicum as well, which is I find quite interesting. In terms of the palate, laser guided acidity, it's like it's quite dry in it.
Yeah, it is.
Lovely and rich. It's almost got an oily character to it. Not in the taste, not like sunflower oil or anything like that, but it's just got this kind of lovely texture. It coats your palate. But what we're going to try and do with the Amphora Annals is not ram tasting notes down your throat, because there's an awful lot of websites out there and YouTube channels and that kind of stuff that do the tasting notes. Isn't it? It's all down to your opinion. All we can do is kind of guide you, but we're not here to kind of tell you what you should be tasting and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you do end up buying a bottle of it, please in the comments let us know what your tasting notes are, because we're always keen to see what people are going for. But for me, very floral, a hint of tropical fruit, loads of lime on the palate. It is really, really clean. There's also a little hint of kind of salinity, like a seaside flavour to it.
That's it. Yeah, a bit of salt.
Yeah, a little bit of salt going on. It's not like when you put salt on your chips, nothing like that. It's just got this kind of nice, clean, salty finish to it as well. I mean, in terms of food, we've got some black olives and some mozzarella there with some herbs and olive oil. It was absolutely fantastic with that. With these wines, I tend to find, I remember someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone telling me a long time ago when I was in embryonic stages of working in the wine industry, as a general rule of thumb, if you go off the postcode where the wine is made, so if we're in, let's say, Vigo in Galicia, and you're eating a lot of seafood, drink the Albarino. If you're in northern Italy, have the wild bull ragu with the Amarone and the Ripasso, that kind of stuff.
That should be a reason, doesn't it?
Yeah. And next up, we've done the Malagusa, which again, one of my favourite wines in the world, if not my favourite wine going at the moment. Again, George, Sommelier George, I'm sorry about that. But I genuinely love it. The next one is the Abaton. So here we've got the red, obviously. But yeah, we've got Limno Mavrudi, and I'm going to try and pronounce this one. Mavrotraniano, I think. But again, I
Does
would
that mean
love
black
it if you could
something?
tell me. Probably Mavro does
Yeah.
mean black. But I'll just read the back of the label. It's quite interesting. Abertoni is a blend of 3 indigenous Greek varieties: Limnio, Mavrudi, and Mavro Trognano, I think. Limnio, the dominant variety, is an ancient grape mentioned by Aristophanes.
Well, you wouldn't know.
Not
that,
Aristotle.
would you?
Apologies.
Aristophanes.
In his play The Peace, written during the 5th century BC. Absolutely amazing. I
You
love
got
that
that
kind of
right.
stuff. But yeah, on the nose for me, loads of black cherry flavours, really kind of sour. 2018, I believe it is. I reckon it could age for another 5-6 years.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay, it's 4 years old as we go, but if you look at the colour, it's showing absolutely no signs of aging just yet.
No.
Get it on the nose, loads of sour cherry. In fact, you know, it reminds me of something like a Valpolicella or Ripasso, almost. Again, it's only in that kind of sour cherry flavour. Again, quite floral, quite really aromatic. It's almost got, again, that sweet, but also sour, sorry, but almost a sweet edge to it, which is quite interesting. Medium tannins, medium acidity. That is a wine that you could drink an awful lot of. It's danger wine.
And we have.
As a very good friend of ours, Mr. McClintock, would say, this is session rouge. The problem with that is it's 14%, so we'd probably be absolutely mullered if we drank a few bottles of that. But
We would.
again,
McClintock would.
McClintock would be. But in terms of the flavour profile of that, you've got that sourness coming through, you've got a lovely hint of spice, it's got a bit of pepper in there, that kind of stuff. But the one country in the world that I genuinely believe is producing some of the most exciting wines in the world at the moment is Greece. Don't have to take my word for it, feel free to kind of find it for yourself. But in terms of varieties, there's hundreds. I mean, they're probably the only place that would rival Greece, I would say, is Italy, because Italy have got, God knows, something like 1,200 varieties or something. Greece probably has something closing in on that, I would say, numbers wise. I mean, every time I go to Greece, which in fairness the last few years I've only been once, but when I do go to Greece, or if I read up about Greek wine, thank you Konstantinos Lazarakis, I'm just amazed at how many varieties there are that are still in production as well.
We're doing the summing up. I'll just say, wow, there you go.
So, I hope you've enjoyed that, folks. To sum up, what would you say? Have you got any final thoughts on the wines?
Well, the sun's shining here in Manchester, so
sun
it must be something to do with Greece and the wine.
Praswich-sur-Mer.
Yeah. I think the Malagusa wine is just exceptional. The red, I like, but the white is exceptional.
I completely agree. For me personally, I think the white, as I've said probably countless times in the last 15 minutes or so, however long we've been on, for me it bottles up an emotion of being sat on a beach.
I feel as though I'm there now.
Apologies, that's Nibbins, the adventurous cat, by the way.
That flies as well and speaks English.
That's a whole different story for a different time. He's been on the mushrooms again.
I want just tasting this wine. I just want to be back in Macedonia again. I just want to be up there with Alexander the Great. They were wonderful days, raw days, but wonderful days, and it's a wonderful place to visit. I think we need to visit again. He was only 2 or 3 when we went.
The cat's father?
He was only 2 or 3, and he was playing with a little fish. And this young
I've seen that picture.
This young Greek lady came out. She'd be about 3.5, and he was already courting at 3.5. And what could yeah.
So yeah, final thoughts. You love the white, you really like the red. I absolutely love the white and I really like the red. If you would like to buy these wines, there is a link in the description below which will take you direct to a website that has them in stock. Now, again, price wise, I believe the Malagusa is about £16.50, £17 a bottle.
I don't know.
The red's £20.50. For me personally, value for money, bang for buck, absolutely banging. So I really hope you enjoy them. So yeah, if you really enjoyed that, give us a like and a subscribe below. And if you like the sound of the wine, hit the description. And hopefully we'll see. Well, not hopefully, we'll see you next time, where we're going to talk more about wine and history. So ciao ciao for now.
Ciao. Look forward to seeing you again. Bye.